still trying to find out what I want to grow up to be. But I retired out of the military, worked in private sector, and then went back into federal workforce, just with the Corps of Engineers. I've been with the Corps of Engineers, whether in uniform or out of uniform, in different capacities and in a lot of different places in the world. So yeah, man, how much excitement and adventure you're looking for, we have it from one end to the other end.
I just saw an opening for an engineer or a contract specialist, I think, in Ukraine. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
We've actually had Rock Island
Do you want to
employees
go ahead?
in Ukraine for
Oh,
IEC.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
and that's, I don't know, John Deere guy, do you want to introduce yourself
I'll
first?
do it when I.
Okay,
I'll let you guys go.
sounds good. I just have a few slides, just to kind of highlight,
Hello, Dr.
more
Vogel.
focus on our student opportunities. But first, I wanted to give you kind of an overall history of the Corps, just really quick, because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. But so up on the screen, it kind of goes through our mission areas on the left, and then a map of the Corps of Engineers and our influence across the world. So, and of course, we are part of Rock Island District, which of course is here, which is part of the Mississippi Valley Division, which is 6 districts along the whole Mississippi River watershed. Question, and whoever knows the answer gets a Whitey's gift card.
You got their attention.
Yeah. What year did the Corps of Engineers become a thing?
1992.
Not close at all. Anybody else?
1946.
No.
2002.
1886.
1803?
Ooh.
Closer. 2002.
No. I'm just gonna.
1997?
1806 is the closest. 1775.
Or did we have an 1803?
Oh, we did have an 1803?
Yeah.
Too bad.
I'll give you one too.
You're spoiling him.
So actually, so there's 3 different dates. 1775 was when the first chief of engineers basically was given a position by the Continental Congress. And then in 1778 or 79, there was another act that kind of formed the Corps of Engineers, but then it actually, it was 1803-ish, I have it written down.
March 16th, 1802.
1802 is actually made a permanent branch of the Army for the establishment of West Point. So been around for a while. Over the years, our mission has changed, of course, and there's been more and more things added on to our mission. Our district is a civil works district. We primarily work on civil works projects, the lock and dams, so navigation, flood risk management, so the Rock Island flood risk project, the retaining walls you see down by the river, that's the Corps of Engineers. Cedar Rapids is one we're building right now. So our mission, of course, has changed over the year. Ecosystem restoration, which is a fairly huge mission we have right now. Another question for Whitey's gift card. In FY22, so our fiscal year 22, which is right now, 2 supplemental funding laws were enacted, which are responsible for $22.8 billion in funding for the Corps of Engineers. Can you name one of those laws? You guys gotta listen to the news? Oh my gosh. I bet you know. Oh.
The law to restore the environment.
Okay.
No,
That's one.
Oh my god, Google immediately, guys.
The Infrastructure Bill, Investment and Jobs Act, so we call it IIJ.
I knew that.
You were in the environment.
I'm literally
Appropriations Act, which is kind of more with coastal, like Hurricane Ida recovery and stuff like that. Okay. I'm gonna move on. There's one you guys might get.
That's how fast we
Okay, so Rock Island District, here's our district map that fits into that larger puzzle piece I showed you earlier. We're responsible for 18 locks and dams on the Mississippi and the Illinois waterway, 5 reservoirs, 3 of which you know. I'm going to name one of the reservoirs that the Corps of Engineers Rock Island District has jurisdiction over.
They're in Iowa. How's that?
And they're on that map, I can read.
Name a lake in Iowa, and maybe you'll get it. Orville! Who said that? Oh my gosh, who? I'm taking everybody out to
I don't
White.
think it did too.
You need to designate that.
I think maybe we should use one of those before we
You
do.
know where you're going after.
I am so done with local history here.
Anybody name another lake in Iowa?
I know one, but I can't remember.
Sailorville, who said that?
Goose Lake.
There you go.
On the
Right.
I have bad eyesight, okay?
I think I can read.
I have bad eyesight.
Orville Lake are all flood risk management projects. They have a huge recreation component to that, but they were not built for recreation. They were actually built for flood control. So, fun fact. So what else we got? Environmental restoration. UMRR, which is a Upper Mississippi River Restoration Program, actually just received not appropriations, but authorization of all the way up to 50 million. It used to be 30 million, but there's several local projects that are along the Mississippi for environmental restoration. Of course, disaster response. Every time there's a flood, we respond. Hurricanes, we respond. Ukraine, we respond. We have people that travel all over the world. There's a lot of people who don't, but there's a lot of people who do. It's voluntary because we're civilians working for the Corps, so you don't have to deploy, but there's definitely opportunities for that. So what I mentioned before with the 22 billion in funding, that's additional funding on top of our normal mission. It's kind of a big deal. Rock Island District got 1.2 billion of that. Lot 25 is going to be a big thing that's kind of ticking up where we can build a brand new lock at that facility.
It's exciting because we haven't built one for a long time.
Yeah, so we need people, basically. So as far as students go, I guess multidiscipline, the type of engineers we have are all listed there. Architects, geologists, hydrologists, land surveyors, engineering techs, and geographers are all in there. We actually have a pretty good relationship with Augustana in the GIS department and also the geology department. We get a lot of our students from this school in those two mission areas of the disciplines. And then too, I was gonna say the pictures that are on this slide and the next one, other than the clock tower picture, which is where our office is at, are all taken by students during the summer as they are working for us. So this is the stuff they see. This is LaGrange Lock. It's dewatered, so that's pretty cool. You get to walk on the bottom of this is actually the Illinois, so walk on the bottom of the river, kind of cool. This one's out at Lake Odessa, which is a restoration project, environmental project. They're having a meeting. There's 3 boats there. That's how they conduct meetings out in the field. And that's actually at Red Rock. There's a hydropower component to that now. This was just added in the last few years, so that's pretty cool. We got to see the construction of that. And then, so summer opportunities. So we employ students all year long, just in the summer. Well, usually, if they're local, they'll come back and work for us during the winter breaks also, if they have an opportunity. Your job is school, so we tailor your schedule according to that. We won't demand that you work 40 hours a week during the school year. You need to get your degree. That's your primary mission in life, right? So we tailor our work for you based on your ability and where you're at in school. So a lot of it does I guess you get a lot of field work, according to these pictures, but it's also a lot of investigations within like data analysis and things like that. So I don't have any cool pictures of that because there's really no cool picture that exists sitting in front of
Can you hear me?
There are
computer.
so many cool
But I
things.
do have, like, these are, we have to
maybe.
have them do calculations, of course, everything's checked by a licensed engineer, but, actual calculations,
Everything is connected.
this is actually, profiles, from different stages and different, profiles of actual levee systems that we use to compare, during flood events.
We try really hard not to give the students too much, photocopying or whatever.
Yeah,
They can do that.
but I don't wanna do that either, so.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
So then again, this is just, some more pictures, but if you guys have any questions, I kind of threw a lot at you in a very short amount of time. Oh, I do have one more question for Wendy's gift card, and then we'll let John Deere give their spiel. Does anybody know who wrote this? It was a professor from Augustana who wrote this. Anybody know who that would be? Again, does anybody in here listen to NPR?
No.
Did you start? No.
That seems.
No.
Dr.
Lone tweet.
Tom, oh,
Rock Island Lines? Anybody?
Thomas,
What's
the Trackway president.
So if somebody is interested in
I sometimes like
should they
watch like some
contact,
old lecture in
what
the
should they do?
past talking
Yes.
about.
So I have some
professors.
brochures here for student internship program and just some fun QR code things with for the core, and then I have business cards. So you can email me, which email address is on here. There's instructions in here too on how to apply. So yes.
And then there's background information on the core in case this is you.
So I know in order to work full-time with the Corps, you have to be ABET accredited. Is that true for internships too?
Not for internships. So
Okay.
So I guess just to kind of get that terminology straight. I don't know, John Deere, for internships, do you call your students interns or do you call graduates interns?
So the students will be called part-time students. That's the year-round program, and then you do a internship during the summer. You take a semester off, and it's called an internship. So.
Okay, gotcha. So at the core, we're trying to get with the rest of the world and what they call things. So for us, when you are a student, same thing, student, and then sometimes they're called internships. We're trying to get used to that. We used to call our people who've already graduated from school interns, is kind of the terminology we use, and they go on a rotation for about a year to 2 years to kind of learn what we do, and we train them during that 2-year period. But yes, in order to be classified as an engineer with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, you have to graduate from an ABET accredited. My understanding is Augustana is going for that now.
Only for the freshman year though. Like anybody older can't get accredited.
It's not retroactive?
It'll be retroactive for the first
Freshman.
years, but not for the,
Gotcha.
because
It's enough classes and the structure of everything.
Gotcha.
What's accredited mean?
It's a process where there's like a group of people that come and they look at the curriculum and the quality of the education basically that was provided by that school. Every school that has an engineering program goes through an ABET accreditation, and it's renewed every so often. You have to go through it again.
So for the students that you've had work internships with you growing Augustana that haven't been ABET accredited, because obviously that's not something that we have yet, how is that translated into jobs and into stuff like for them?
Sure. So for us, because it's geology and hydrologists, actually in that upper right picture in the middle is Erin Russo, who's a graduate of Augustana. She has a degree in hydrology from here. But yeah, it's that geologists and hydrologists and geographers.
Cool.
So any other questions for us? Okay. I'll turn it over to green and
I have
yellow.
one laminated pamphlet, a gift card. There. So just plug for these guys. If I hadn't have gone work for Deere 12 years ago, I had been working at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal with a group called Takedown. I would have loved as an engineer or someone with a science background to get on with the Corps. A lot of cool stuff. And you saw that map. They have jurisdiction across the whole United States, other parts of the world. So it's a great opportunity here local too. But talk about Deere. You guys know Deere? Everyone, what do we make?
Tractor.
So
You gotta give them
Do
a
you get a
lighting
gift
card.
card?
for that.
Here, I got two
I
left.
feel-
That's true.
Well, they also track. All right, so my name's Ed Farwell. Currently, right now, my title is current product engineering, factory engineering supervisor. Makes sense, right? So I work at John Deere Harvester Works, so down in East Moline, it's the combine factory. You know what the combines do? They pick corn, soybeans, grain, that type of stuff. We feed the world, so they're protecting the farmland and we're harvesting off the top of it. John Deere. So what I do, I have quality engineers that make sure customer issues and factory issues are taken care of, and that we've got what we call control plans in place, so we're monitoring processes. I've got manufacturing engineers that put those processes and sequence events in place down on the factory floor so that we can build stuff, because that's what we do is we make stuff at the factory. And then I've got a group of engineers called supplier quality execution engineers, and they go out if we buy something from a supplier and we have a failure with it either in the factory or in the field, they go work with those suppliers to try to implement corrective action. So my group does a lot of root cause, failure analysis type thing, getting into materials, all kinds of fun, actual real engineering stuff. We do sit behind computers most of the time. We sit at the factory, so we have some opportunity to get out into a loud, dirty environment where we're welding. So it's kind of hands-on. It's neat stuff if you like to tinker and like to see how things are made. So that's my background about me. We talked about John Deere. You guys all said tractors. That's the first thing that you know about combines. So I just told you about Harvester Works, the largest and most modern combine factory in the world. Means a ton, right, to you guys? Because like there's 4 combine factories in the whole world, but we have the biggest. So our claim to fame. John Deere also does construction equipment. You guys know Downport Works on the north side of the Quad Cities. You guys know what the big huge thing is next to the airport? That big huge warehouse out in Milan called Parts Distribution Center. It's like the largest warehouse roof or roofed-in warehouse in North America. We sell service parts for everything going back to not the original plow that John Deere made that they haven't heard about in the area, but we sell parts. As long as something has had 5 orders on a part, we'll still service it. So we still service like the original combines that were made in the early 40s, the self-propelled combines, belts and bearings and things like that, because some of that equipment still is in use. So John Deere's got a huge history, 187 years right now is how long Deere's been a company. So not as long as the core, but we're
pretty close.
Yeah. So, but John Deere, quick plug on the technology piece. Did anyone see about 2 months or so ago, you guys know what we put out on YouTube and what we did? We went to the Consumer Electronics Show, CES in Las Vegas. Kind of a big deal. These were phones and Samsung TVs and stuff. We were there with a tractor, the thing you guys know. Do you guys know why we had a tractor in Las Vegas?
Is it a smart tractor?
What's that?
Is it a smart tractor?
Very smart tractor, self-propelled, self-driven, make Elon Musk proud. We actually, before he even did stuff with Tesla and auto drive, John Deere had tractors that we were controlling in the field autonomously, sub 1 inch accuracy. So we can control something that goes up to 60 feet wide down to 1 inch. So this year we actually released, first company to release autonomous option for a tractor. So that's a kit right now that farmers can buy. You can control it's about 120,000 pounds worth of equipment from your cell phone. So you can start, stop. The machine knows if you go and throw something in front of the combine or in front of the tractor, it'll stop, it'll detect that something else has come into it, and it'll just safe stop and it won't try to go around or anything like that and then take out a school bus or something like that. So, but Deere is trying to become and is starting to get known as, you'll start hearing it, as the Tesla of the ag industry. So what we do with tractors, we're gonna do with construction, we're gonna take it into combines, do a lot of the fun, smart industrial stuff is what we say. So again, it's not just the tractors, it's not just the lawnmowers, it's not the construction equipment, it's also the technology piece that we're bringing into it. So, any questions about Deere overall? It's pretty cool. Like where I work, we take stuff, gray steel on one side, we add some other stuff that comes in from other suppliers, and we have green combines and front end equipment going out the back end. So it's a pretty neat process. So what our program is for the part-time students, this is a year-round program. It's eligible for anyone who has a 2.8 GPA or higher and can work at least 16 hours a week. So we're extremely flexible on the time. So you can work up to 40 hours during the summer when you're not in school. I think it's 38 hours is what we cap out during the week. So you can work a decent amount of hours, fit in with your schedule, and then we give you real life projects. You're gonna work with engineers, you're gonna work with people that are on our wage side on the shop floor. You're gonna learn how to implement new things, how to monitor things, how to control things, how to fix stuff. A lot of opportunities on the factory engineering side. I'm gonna leave that pamphlet there. We've got 3 QR codes. You guys only get 1.
We're the Corps of Engineers.
Yeah. They got more. It's not a contest. So there's 3 positions listed on here. There's the factory engineering side, so that's manufacturing engineering, quality engineering, a combination of both. Then we've got supply management in there, so you might think, why would engineer, someone with a technical background, want to go into supply management? Because we have to buy this cool stuff that goes into those cool tractors, and we have to use composites and different kinds of technology. We don't do all the stuff that makes the tractors or the combines. We can't do all that in one factory, but we have to buy that. So we have engineers that actually help us procure parts and procure systems that will function highly, at a highly technical nature. So don't discount that. That's still it's still a very valid opportunity. And then also we have one that's the facility. So John Deere, if you guys saw, so what did Tesla do about 2 weeks ago? What are they famous for?
Gigafactory?
Giga Texas.
Giga.
They opened up their new factory. Elon Musk calls that the product because that's the machine that makes the machine. Pretty cool, right? Like AI gets in there, gets out of control. They start making those Tesla bots. And then it's the Terminator stuff, right? But you got to have facility engineers to do that. So also too, again, not just making the product or fixing stuff or bringing in product, but also again making the machine that makes the machines. So there's three disciplines listed on there. They all apply the same thing: 2.8 GPA, minimum of 16 hours, and then again full-time availability during the summer. It's a year-round program. You start getting service credit towards working for a career at John Deere when you get over 500 hours in 1 year. That applies as a year of service credit. You're eligible for insurance. There's all kinds of benefits and bonuses, or there's all kinds of benefits with bonuses and other pretty good pay. So a lot of benefits to working. It's a great opportunity to learn a real world environment. And work with a lot of the people from a lot of different disciplines, a lot of different schools. So, and then my 9-year-old daughter, who's very STEM focused, wanted me to tell you guys that you also get a lot of free hats. So, you have to wear a John Deere hat. That's kind of our thing. But anyway, and last part of it, the hat kind of analogy. You do get to wear a lot of hats. I've been a product design engineer. I've been a quality engineer. Been a quality engineering supervisor. Now I'm a manufacturing engineering supervisor, supplier quality execution supervisor. I've done test and development. I've been in the middle of a sunflower field in South Dakota that caught fire, and we had 40 acres of soybeans making flames about 40 feet tall.
In the fire.
Yeah, yep, because stuff burns. So, because the Corps can't flood everything. So, lots of opportunities: test development, project management, all kinds of stuff. So, I've been with Deere 12 years, and I've done all those positions and sat and done design work, then going into test cells. I've been inside. We have a huge room that has a 5 million BTU furnace inside of it that we use to heat up the machines. We run power sweeps on them. We try to figure out how well the cooling package works. So I've sat hours inside of a room that's 120 degrees Fahrenheit for science. So it's all kinds of cool stuff. So what questions do you guys have for me? Or you just wow?
Oh, wow.
They're wow.
Did you? So I guess I have a question sort of for both presenting groups related to there was this sort of like you can travel and there's all these different things you can do, and you mentioned all these different sort of hats you wore. How much of that was like your decision and you like sort of chose to go in those directions, and how much of it was like a path you followed? Right, both for like traveling in different places and then also for like having different, like working in different areas.
Yeah. So for Deere, a lot of it is your destiny. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I can't just walk into work tomorrow and say I want to be CEO, John May. But I very much flexible to identify the career path I wanted to go into, identify the gaps and strengths I have, and then try to achieve those positions. Mm-hmm. I've had to compete for everything, so I've had to interview, just like you guys are going to have to do at one point. Minus this last one, Deere went through major reorganization about 18 months ago, and they placed a lot of us. So I actually got lucky, and there were 3 supervisors doing the work I'm doing now. So my boss said, you can do these 3 supervisors' jobs. So
that's lucky?
Yeah. yeah, again, private versus public sector. Private, sometimes it's what you're gonna do.
Okay.
But yeah, Deere is extremely flexible. Lots of opportunities. Again, I mean, you know, and even if you talk to our CEO right now, John May, he will not tell you that he walked into Deere whenever he started 20 years ago, knowing that he was going to be CEO. Matter of fact, up until the point he was told he was going to be CEO, he did not know that was the plan. So, I mean, there's obvious things that you get higher up, you'll kind of realize if you're heading that way. But no, it's very much your own destiny, your own control. So cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say that's one of the benefits of John Deere, and even with the core, how big of a entity it is. There are a lot more opportunities than most other places. At the core, for me, it's always been kind of whenever the opportunity exists. I got into supervisor roles mostly because I was scared who might be my supervisor, so I put in for that position.
Yeah.
But you know, for the most part, it's you know, it's whatever you make it. We have people that have again deployed to Afghanistan, Iraq, actually Ukraine before, you know, the crisis that's going on there now for navigation work. But there were opportunities that they volunteered for. But as far as you know, one nice thing about the Corps is we do have every discipline of engineering out there. It exists somewhere in the Corps of Engineers. There's research labs. There's also military mission, there's civil works mission. So there's opportunities for anybody to do anything. Certainly I started out in structural engineering. I ended up also working as a project engineer on environmental projects where it was more focused on earthwork as opposed to actual miter gates or whatever on the locks. But you know, it's you can pretty much just create your own job, and you can work at anywhere in the world, both with John Deere and with the Corps. I have friends that have worked for John Deere that have been in Europe, and I have friends for the Corps that have been in Europe. Bill has been in Europe, you know, like working and contributing to the business.
I would tell you all that, to give you the credibility, I worked in the private sector. I've worked in, like I was saying, in uniform, and then I worked as a civilian. Wherever you work, you are your best own advocate for your career. Okay, you got it. I would tell you, I don't care where you're working. The best advocate for where you want to be, what you want to do, is yourself. Okay, you're the one that can best sell yourself. You're the one that can best explain what you're looking for in your career in the near term. Or further out. So, but you got to work at it. You know, you got to be interested in yourself. And if you think somebody else is going to sell you, if you can't sell yourself, why is somebody else going to sell you? Okay, so I would say that just applies anywhere. Okay, you got to be willing to invest in yourself and sell yourself before you're ever going to think somebody else is going to speak up and want you on their team. Okay, it sounds a little bit selfish, but it's the truth. Okay, and yeah, you know, I had the opportunity to be part of a construction program where we built basically a city the size of the District of Columbia in Korea. Also worked on a road project in Afghanistan. In Europe, I was in uniform and working with different people there. That's if you get into the military, but you can go with any big company, from John Deere to the Corps of Engineers to other companies. You sell yourself, and if they're global, you're going to be global. And it's exciting. It's exciting, and it also becomes a partnering event if you got a family.
Yeah.
Believe me.
On the flip side, I will say with the Corps of Engineers, it's also very work-life balance friendly.
I was gonna add to that. So I'm a mom, I have 2 kids. My daughter just started college. And so from when my children were born till my kids were in junior high, I worked part-time. I mean, and I was able to translate that into full-time job when I was ready. So, you know, it's a blessing that if that's what your life, you know, if that's your goal in life, you know, some of us aren't, you know, want to be career all the time, but we want to have a career the Corps has been a really good opportunity for that, to, still have a career, have your family, which you guys maybe aren't thinking about right now, but in a few years, that'll be more important to you. Or not,
That's okay too. Yeah. But it does come down to advocating for yourself, so yeah. I think I was one of the first ones to go part-time.
Yeah, she was.
So
It was nice. There were
several, and I've done all right in my career there, so.
I have one more question, but I want to let everyone else ask.
So I know there's some students at Augie in like the math and computer science departments that are interns or work at John Deere that aren't necessarily like physics or engineering physics in that department. So can you talk a little bit about some of the opportunities for non-physics majors at John Deere?
So with our factory engineering group, our quality manufacturing group, it's looking for that problem-solving mentality, that comes with some of the, not the applied sciences, but some of the math and physics type stuff, some of the business procedures too, right? So we have, on my team, I don't have all degreed engineers. I've got some business majors. I've got some folks that were kind of non-traditional that, didn't get a full 4-year degree, that type of thing. So they've got lots of work experience. So we have lots of opportunities. At Deere, a lot of the functions that do have a lot of the pure engineering in it are the product design or the test guys, and then the software engineers, the guys that are doing the hardcore coding. But even some of that comes from some of the other disciplines not related to the design intensive areas. I was a design intensive degree, so in ABET accredited school, University of Illinois Ag Engineering. So that was a design centric, design heavy degree, which leads into being able to do product design in John Deere. But that's about the only area that really gets very specific on that. There's a lot of opportunities. And like I said, supply management, we have people, parts, and process. We have to have all three in order to serve our customers. So we got to buy products, we got to have the right people doing the right thing, and then we got to make sure the tooling's there doing stuff. So everyone fits in one way or the other. So does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, for the Deere part, you're on for years.
Yeah, as far as we do have some physics majors, but as far as non-physics, non-engineering folks at our district, we really don't have that many. If any, but at least not in engineering and construction, not to say there aren't places for them. There's a lot of research labs in the Corps of Engineers, and things like that. We do, of course, have computer support, and there's some coding with some of the things that we do. The various analysis programs that we have involve a lot of coding, but I would think if you're that, John Deere would probably be a better overall.
Yeah, the Corps has what I would call real engineers, because they have to be the they have to go through the FE and the PE, because you mentioned signing off on blueprints. We don't have that, so I can design a part that ends up doing something bad, and maybe the tractor wheel falls off or whatever. They have a little bit more responsibility on stuff with liability there. So that is kind of a difference on what the Corps does versus what a design company or what a manufacturing does. We don't require that level of certification or that sign off on things. It's just a different liability shield essentially on things. So, but I'm gonna plug you guys probably harder than me.
I'd add something because I've seen it happen. Make sure if you're interested in the Corps of Engineers or in government work or whatever, look on there's a USA Jobs, look on there. But and the reason I'm kind of getting a little pensive about it is I know of a particular lady that when I was in uniform, she worked as part of the relocation program team that designed basically a small city. She did not have a degree in engineering. I forgot specifically, but it was something, I don't know if it was business management, something like that, okay? She arrived the same year I did in 2013 in Korea, south of Seoul, the capital, about 80 kilometers. But she had already deployed in the Corps of Engineers to Afghanistan, working in project management. Okay, you don't have to have an engineering degree to work in project management, but if you have management experience, you can maybe be applying for a job. Now, I don't remember her whole career, but today she's the director of programs management for a whole engineer district in Honolulu, Hawaii. So I knew her in 2013, and this past summer in 2021, she was selected as the director of program management. That means she's the top civilian in the district, and I don't think she's 40 years old. Okay, I know another lady who's closer to my age, who had to work at it harder, has an engineering degree, and is now the director of program management in Nashville. Both of them were on my team. There was another guy who's now the same kind of person in the Albuquerque district. But his background is all finance and spreadsheets and all that stuff, but he can relate to people also. Don't forget how to relate to people, because you cannot not work on a team if you're going to work for the Corps or for John Deere. But I'm just giving you perspective. It's maybe a little bit mind-blowing in the sense of the perspective, but don't self-unselect yourself, or I'm not using the right word, but don't automatically discount yourself and pull you out of possibilities. Okay, remember, you are your best advocate, and that's how you're going to get other people to advocate for you. So there's possibilities in the Corps, and I've seen different things in private sector that, when you talk about your CEO, he didn't know until he was told he was a CEO. Amazing stuff can happen when you're working well with people, you have some kind of education, and you take care of things as they're coming along, and taking care of people and getting the project, the mission done. You're going to go a long way. And I'm looking at you guys this way because I have kids just a little older than you trying to break into a career, right? So you are the talent. You are the generation of talent we have to have in this country. So I salute you.
And I'll just add too, for the Corps of Engineers, we hire all sorts of people, not necessarily in engineering, but like we have graphic artists on staff, we have archaeologists, biologists, so there are a ton of opportunities out there that aren't just engineering. So yeah, it's a great place to work. Really good, especially Rock Island. We're one of the best districts.
Just and I'm just going to do one more plug for federal government, just in general, is Corps of Engineers. My time, if I were to go to Fish and Wildlife Service, if I was going to go to National Park Service and get a job there, my time counts. So yeah, so you can pretty much go to any federal agency, USGS, and it's as if you had been there the same amount of time.
So for retirement, vacation, things like that, pension, yeah. So that all,
which you guys aren't worried about right now. When you get to be our age, at least my age, I like that I can retire in 8 years and not worry about things.
Well, thanks a lot. I want to give the club their chance to do the rest of their meeting stuff, but you guys are great.
Sorry.
And just sort of support, these are two really, really well-respected organizations doing very different work. As they've told you all, they're big so that they allow you they can be a place you can do a career, and you can start while you're here at Augie, or you can work for them for a couple of years at a really respected place and get some great experience and do something completely different. And in either of those cases, I think this is a really good place to start. So I'd encourage you to think about finding ways to take advantage of that. And that are both within 5 miles of campus or something. So that's great.
Different direction.
We practically walked to the arsenal.
And Mike's got the contact for Harbor Sewer Pacific if you have questions about our positions, but there's also other postings in McLeod City, so.
And they're on the LinkedIn page too. All that stuff I posted in the last couple of weeks. So.
So, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You grab cards and stuff there if you want them.